Chinese face-off this afternoon. And OG versus EG, a repeat of last year's semi-final of the upper bracket. In the lower bracket, however, things have got very spicy indeed. We've lost Virtus Pro incredibly in only the second round of that lower bracket. And RNG, congratulations to Royal Never Give Up. In their very first ever TI appearance, have made themselves at least a top 12 team, and that's a fantastic performance from them. Liquid are the team, however, that they will face up against. Newbee versus Infamous is our opening game of the day, of course. Today, and Secret versus Mineski. Obviously, we lost Keen and Na'Vi in the previous rounds, alongside Fnatic and Alliance. 6 gone from the main event already. 2 from the group stage. They drop like flies at this time in TI, Brian. I get a bit worried. I'm like, who's coming next?
Yeah, who's the next to fall? And whenever I watch the lower bracket series, I just can't imagine what's going through their head going into this. I mean, so much on the line. It's not just the next prize pool that you're making. We saw TI7, Liquid drop to the lower bracket and then made it all the way back up. You can still make it. You can still win the tournament. And if you drop a series that you don't feel like you should have dropped, there's so many what ifs, could have beens.
I mean, that's a story in its own right, isn't it? Liquid. I mean, they started in the lower bracket. No one's ever done that before.
Yeah.
No one's started in the lower bracket and gone all the way back to win TI. They've done it at majors.
Not.
OG have done it at majors, but at TI, that's a tall order.
And, you know, Liquid, just sort of for all the imperfections they had in the group stage, they are absolutely a team that could go on to do that. They have the caliber of players to do so. We've seen it in the past. And as they've showed us yesterday, they have that sort of, still those hidden drafts, those secret sort of last picks. The anti-mage comes through, it absolutely destroys TNC. You've got to watch out when you're going up against Liquid to bring that out. And you cannot underestimate them because they're TI winning caliber. They absolutely could be the first team, as you say, to make that lower bracket run all the way to the top.
After we'd had 2 majors this season, Fold, there was a dominance being set by Virtus Pro and by Secret in particular. Liquid weren't far away at that point, still rebuilding a little bit, but they weren't far away. If I'd said to you in January, hey, guess what? By the time we get to the lower bracket second round, Virtus Pro are going to be gone and Secret and Liquid are going to be in the bottom playing each other, you'd have been like, get out of here. That's crazy talk.
Yeah, for Liquid maybe a tiny little bit, right? Because they have had some shaky moments and all that, but the other two, no way. No one would be able to predict something like that.
Yeah.
The way that we've seen Liquid, I mean, like Owen was saying, the form that they're starting to build up, it's reminiscent of that TI7. They're doing this draft that people are like, oh, looks a little weird, and then they make the space and they find their ideas. So that's the nice thing about going through the lower bracket, right? You're learning.
Absolutely.
You're playing a lot of games. You're learning. You're watching everybody play as well. So you're learning a lot throughout this tournament.
A lot of pressure on Mineski now, Brian, from the SEA point of view. They've already lost 2 of their big teams. Got to perform today.
Yeah, you're the sole warrior remaining, and that's a lot of pressure. There's not like there's not enough pressure already.
Plenty of it, isn't it?
Hey, how about you just play Secret? Why not?
Right.
Get out of your best of 1, and you talk about us not expecting to see Secret in the lower bracket. I'm sure Mineski wasn't expecting to run into them after their best of 1.
No. Yeah.
So I think they're quite capable of taking the series. Obviously, Secret
you think Mineski can win that?
I'm saying that Secret has shown vulnerability. Right. I don't think they will. You know, the odds are against them. Sure. But the thing is, at TI, I've talked to a lot of players and managers, and they just talk about how almost the tier of Dota at TI is just a step down from the rest of the year because everyone's making mistakes. There's so much on the line, and mistakes honestly make for really good Dota, and I think that's part of the reason why TI Dota is on its own tier of caliber.
Kind of sticks out, doesn't it? Let's talk Chinese teams as well, because LGD, Vici, they've lived up to that hype. They've lived up to the pressure that they were under. And we all talked about how do they perform under the pressure of playing in front of home fans, because generally speaking, in previous majors and big tournaments out here, Chinese teams haven't performed that well. They've done fine in the upper bracket, and RNG yesterday showed us they've got plenty as well in that lower bracket.
They're definitely impressing. I think I know Kyle was the one who was really on about the Chinese teams. He's like, they're all gonna make it to the top. Keen didn't really make it so much, but these teams, we're seeing how well they've done throughout the year and how much they've been practicing. And I mean, LGD, terrifying team, kept together for the entire year, and we're seeing why. We're seeing that they always will have that spike come toward it in this tournament.
You still think a Chinese team wins on Chinese soil, Owen?
Not in my bracket, but then again, a lot of things were wrong in my bracket. So
mine too. We're all pros when it comes to brackets.
Going from what's happened so far, apparently, a Chinese team will probably win. As I actually ended up having my finals being Secret versus OG, which could still happen. But China has got a good chance this year.
Welcome into the arena, the most successful South American team to grace the International. Infamous have already set a new record for South Americans. They want to go one step further. A top 8 place is within touching distance in the next best of 3. These players could not have imagined it would be this successful on day number 3 of TI9. Infamous will take their place inside their booth and get themselves ready for their opponents who enter the arena right now. A Chinese name with a North American twist. Newbee enter the Mercedes-Benz Arena to rapturous applause, no doubt about it. The Chinese fans, of course, getting behind their hometown team with a slightly different look this year. Of course, Newbee moving on from Forward Gaming. They are in the lower bracket as well. They face Infamous. These two teams have only played once before, and really, it's not much to talk about. It was a 16-minute stop by the players from Newbee. They won't be thinking too much about that today as they get themselves settled, I'm sure, gents, because we don't really have much on these two teams going head-to-head. There's not much out there, and that one game is kind of whatever.
Yeah, but they do know each other really well,
They
right?
do,
Sure,
they
haven't
do
played,
play with
but
each other.
Yeah, the
and
pubs.
they know each other, exactly.
They play each other all the time in pubs. They probably flame each other all the time in pubs as well, which, you know, we love.
I don't want to say too much,
It's cool,
but this
but-
guy does too. He's in there as well.
Sometimes.
A little
Depends on my mood.
All right.
I've gotten better about it in the
All
last
right.
few years. I've matured, I guess you could say. But yeah, they definitely are very familiar with each other, and
Yep.
it should turn out to. We should see that, especially like in the draft, especially in like a lot of plays and stuff too. The way they set up, they're both going to be pretty prepared for each other. I was really happy to hear the roar that we heard from the crowd, right? Even for like Infamous coming
Absolutely.
out, kind of like new team, and they were actually really, really.
Yeah,
really up for
everyone
it.
loves an underdog, and they are kind of the underdogs in this matchup already. Let's not beat around the bush. But
Yeah.
Brian, one of the cool things that happened to me a few days ago was I spent some time with Samael. We were poring over stats and talking, you know, form and his brother and all sorts of other things. And he said to me, this stuck in my mind. It was so amazing. We started looking through the Infamous stats and we're like, hey, look, this. And he was like, do you know what? This Hector guy is a beast. And if Samael was saying that, I'm like, oh, wow, he really rates him. And I think you do too.
Yeah, he defines the entire playstyle for Infamous, and what they've had for success this tournament is basically a 4 protect 1. And the whole idea is that his timings dictate the entire pace of the game for the team. And I want to take us into a couple clips of really showing his playstyle in the mid to early game. That what it basically is a lot of carries will hold their TPs after farming to TP to their team if any fights in the mid game. Hector almost always TPs from farm to farm. And you're seeing in the early game, he goes from top lane to top shrine just to get an extra efficiency out of the neutral creeps. And it seems like such a small deal, but they know Infamous. If you watch their playstyle, it's just 4v5 for the first 15 to 20 minutes of the game. And when you watch the net worths, it is Hector at the top by almost double the net worth, and then it's the rest of Infamous on like almost 5th and 6th on the net worth. And you're seeing here, once he gets the Radiance, he then takes over all the bottom half of the farm and then proceeds to TP to the top half of the map to clear even more farm. This entire playstyle of Infamous revolves around the way he plays, and you just know what you're getting out of this player. And it may seem like an AFK pub style, but at the end of the day, he's made it to TI, and they're performing against some of the best teams. We saw them beat LGD in the group stage with this similar strategy, and it's all about Newbee, I think, attacking this idea that Hector's going to be playing by himself. And we talked about slowing down his timings and basically saying, Infamous, you're forced to fight us 4v5 for an extra 5 minutes in this game, and it should be no problem taking you down.
Some people would argue that
Nice.
that Newbee should focus on their own game. They shouldn't worry about the team. But do you feel that strongly that they actually have to have a plan for Hector?
I think that so far the teams that have played against Infamous have thought that.
Right.
And then they see a 30,000 net worth Wraith King at 35 minutes into the game with 940 GPM. They're like, wait a minute. we lost. You look at the net worths in that game that I showed you, it was so funny. You just see 35,000 net worth Wraith King, and the next is like 21,000 in the game, and that's just how they play.
That is, I mean, it is pretty insane. You do have to find some way to address it, but also, like you said, a lot of the teams here have been saying, stick to your style.
Right.
Don't worry about what they're going to do because we're better than that. We know how we play, and they're going to be playing with 4 people. So if you're playing your own strategy and they're playing man down, you could just run over them.
Let's turn our attention to Newbee. I mean, how did you rate their group stage? Because I felt like they were probably the biggest overperformers, weren't they?
Well, absolutely. I was incredibly impressed. I mean, the whole group stage, they only lost a series outright 2-0 against Team Secret. And it's like, okay, fair enough. It's Team
Seems
Secret.
right,
Everyone else, they're able to at least draw the series with. And for these guys, it's very impressive. These are some old school players and some also old school panelists, right? You have this team where 3 of them, Aoi was involved in the Kiev major coverage, I was involved in the KL major coverage. CCNC, he was a TI panelist. They've sort of come back together, and they really are doing it under the Newbee moniker, and it's very impressive to watch. These are sort of players that have been passed around the region, tried out a lot of different compositions. Nothing's really sort of been able to sort of drive them into a position. As of recently, of course, we've got some past phenomenal stars at sort of the earlier TIs, but for this day and age, for these guys to find something that works together, it's remarkable to see. And in a region where a few months ago you're asking people about NA, it's EG and all the rest. No, it's EG and Newbee and all the rest now.
Gives Brian and Fogged a chance, a hope. They might be able to return to a panel team.
Well, look at this. I've played with most of these players, Paul. Excuse me. I played with MSS. I played with Snaking, my boy, the King. And then we even have Curtis, like you said, Aoi.
So they've all got...
Look at that.
There's no footage in black and white that exists of those games. It was so long ago.
Yeah, and also look at them. They're all successful now that I'm not playing. So I guess we're finding the X.
You rubbed off on them a little bit, maybe. Think about it that way instead.
You're digging your own hole. So let me bail you out. We'll go through a few of the players. We'll start with Yawar, and I want to bring up his brother as well, Samael. Many people obviously tune in; they're brand new to the international. Yawar is on Newbee, and Samael is on EG, and obviously they find themselves in different teams from the North American region. They go head to head with each other very infrequently. It has to be said. They have played each other in games, but never at TI, and that's what we're waiting for Hassan Bowl in the international. And it didn't happen last year. Could have happened in the upper bracket. Didn't. Newbee now need to win for that to happen and carry on. But what I wanted to bring up more about Yawar is that he's very much been in his brother's shadow for the last couple of years. I feel like in the group stages, he put down a marker. He said, no, I can play just as well. I can carry this team too.
Kind of becoming your own individual when you have a brother like Sumail for Yawar, I think is really difficult. And I think he's handled that whole dynamic of the way the community's almost flamed him, saying you'll never be as good as your brother, these types of things. And he's just he's a quiet guy. He's kind of sat back and said, I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to get better. 3 years ago, kind of an iffy tier 2, tier 3 NA player. And now you're seeing him at TI 2 years in a row, putting up a solid performance. I think he looks way better this year than last year. And it just shows how much hard work goes into it. And I think playing together with similar teammates, discussing the game, has a lot to do with it, like his ability to progress as a competitive player. Because a lot of it's the mindset, the strategy, the cohesiveness of a team aspect.
Yeah, I remember when we first started to see Yawar coming up in the pubs and everything, and we were all playing. We're all playing in the NA pubs, and people were very impressed with some of his farming patterns and stuff. So now that we're seeing him, like you said, develop on all that, he's really starting to find his best form. Right? He's I think he had average 460 last hits or something across games. That's insane. Yeah. That type of farm, he's playing at absolute top form, and now you're looking at, damn, he's really bringing it to Sumail.
Yeah, highest average last hits during the group stage of any player, and highest average GPM as well, which is slightly blown out because of the out games and what have you. But
sure.
But still, he's in the top 5 or top 10 for almost every stat you can dig out from the group stage on an individual player. So he's up there. He's doing it.
He really is. And you sort of looked at the day one, and this, I think, was the first LAN ever where you're watching sort of Yawar with Newbee, Sumail with VG, and you're saying, well, this is the LAN, this is the time where Yawar, he is going to go further than his brother. Obviously, yesterday, then EG did beat Secret. Yeah. All right, okay. Sumail is kind of cranking it back up to 11. But for the most part, there's absolutely every reason to believe that Yawar could certainly make the run here with Newbee.
One of the other players that's often been criticised, Brian, CCNC. He's been given a lot of grief over the last few years about being a bit of a flamer and maybe hard to play with and maybe not as high skilled as he should be. I think he's had pretty much everything thrown at him. Another one answering the critics here because he's played fantastically well again in the group stage.
Absolutely. At the highest level, the players, they talk about other players. And a lot of times you hear about CCNC, you heard about his inability to win the mid lane.
Right.
He was like a solid mid-game player. He knew what to do. He played around the team. But he would almost always come out at some sort of disadvantage in the mid lane. And now I think that's been solved. I think he's come together as an early game skilled mid laner. He plays 1v1s all day.
All day.
And that's the dedication. They know their mistakes. They recognize their shortcomings. And they just bring them all together.
All right, good stuff. Thank you very much, guys. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, to get into game number 1.
Versus Game 1.
Newbee versus Infamous. We're over here to start talking picks, bans, key players, teams. Joined by Blitz, Lacoste. Lacoste, what's your first impression here coming into Newbee versus Infamous?
Both of these teams performed way better than anyone expected, I guess. And Infamous looking really good. As Brian pointed out, 4 Protect 1. This is not what we usually see, not in this meta, creating a lot of space. And Newbee will have to address this problem. They can't just play their own game. They will need to get the early towers and try to take some of these creep camps from Hector, because this guy is actually a beast when he gets the free farm.
Yeah. Do you like the tools that Newbee have, Will, as far as matching up against Infamous?
I think so, because I feel like they should know each other pretty well. I'm sure they've scrimmed before this event. I think Newbee, well, it just looked really bad against OG, but they can push a pace if they need to, and I feel like that's what you need to do to be successful against Infamous. We saw those 2 games that they played against OG. I don't think that any team, even if you think you're better at it, don't play to their strengths. Infamous is a very good late game team. Chris Luck and Hector, they are so good at finding farm.
The only thing Infamous needs to do is not lose the laning stage so hard, because they can be ran over so easily. We've seen one of those games where they lost in 15 minutes.
And that's the crazy thing with Infamous, is they've lost some of the biggest stomps of this tournament. You mentioned the 15-minute game. I think there's been several games of theirs in the group stage where people are like, oh yeah, you know, Infamous, that's the team from South America we expect to get dead last. Here they are, though, playing for a slot in the top 8, and they've had some amazing games, particularly when they go late game.
Yeah, I don't even know if Newbee's the favorite here, because Infamous, remember, this was the team that took first blood off of Vici. When Vici was looking unstoppable, Infamous absolutely smoked them.
Yeah, and something we've seen so far is every team that's dropped down to the lower bracket has actually lost. Both Virtus Pro as well as TNC. So there is something to be said for the momentum coming off of a win in the best of ones. Do you feel like that is something that's going to come into play here?
It could. I mean, if you look at how badly Newbee got smoked by OG, like that was a bodying for the ages. You saw the OKGG. I feel like that can do some mental damage to you. Whereas Infamous, even though they did start in the lower bracket, they're on a roll right now.
Now, we've seen no GGs, we've seen some other stuff, some Instagrams at the end of the games when Navi played. But okay, GG, this is the first time that we saw that one. And they open up with Mag. I see that a lot of the teams, as tournament progresses, they are shifting towards this big team fight optics, as always, pretty much. You have this Enigmas, Tide Hunters.
And this is one of those pace-setting heroes like we talked about. Newbee needs to be a little bit more aggressive. We have seen them win these ultra late game situations like the game against Alliance, but I think against Infamous, all the games that I've seen, you don't want to get into these 60-minute clown fest where Hector pops out with 6 items. The best thing to do, I think, is just run at them, and Leshrac is proving to be one of the best heroes at doing so.
Yeah, especially in this scenario where they already have someone who can empower Hector. You have this steroid for him, and I would not be surprised if they just pick Hectors here. Phantom Assassin still in the pool, one of the best combos you can get with the Mag. Well, I mean, he also invented kind of the build on these strength heroes. I love the little thing when he buys Belt of Giant Strength extra, little top of it after he gets Hand of Midas.
I'd like to see Tiny RSD picked up for Infamous. I feel like they play around these heroes very well. We saw Schofield Tiny just absolutely dominate in the group stage. But instead, they change things up a little bit, go for the Nyx.
That's a great pickup, actually, because of the Carapace, a lot of uncontrollable damage on side of Newbee. Great hero against Celeste. You are forcing him to get an early BKB, which he kind of does not like to go, because if the game drags, his BKB will be 5 seconds, and the mana burn will be maxed out, so that's a lot of damage coming up from Nyx Assassin, and you can always stun this Elder Titan. if he's trying to stun you with the Spirit.
And I think this is the second time I've seen Infamous take Nyx. The first time being in the group stage against EG, which I think they lost that game. It was the one where they had Huskar.
Okay. The one thing with Infamous, I do question it. Like, these two heroes individually both sound great for them. Magnus, you got the Empower for your Hector heroes. Nyx Assassin as far as easy carapaces, but most likely a 3-4. And I feel like Nyx Magnus is not really a good dual lane. Like, those are not heroes you typically expect to see laning together or playing around each other.
Yeah, that is the one thing about Infamous that's a little bit odd. They don't seem to pick a 3-4 synergy often. Instead, what they seem to do is they heavily prioritize on trying to gank mid and their safe lane. They're one of the teams that I feel like secures their safe lane the most for very obvious reasons. I mean, we've talked ad nauseum about how good Hector is. You know, put the game in the hands of your best player.
Yeah.
That is the best thing that you can do with these TIs.
Faceless Void is still in the pool. If Newbee wants to grab it, that's a lot of damage they can throw into the Chronosphere. Elder Titan also lash on top of it, and you have a good hero to play around the RP, because if you initiate first on Mag, he can't get in. Like, he can't counter your team with an RP, and you can get on top of RP as well when they group up with the Chronosphere.
You can see the numbers there. Schofield, Nyx, his most played hero throughout TI9. Something that he's well known for. The Magnus as well, so there is some flexibility as far as which of these heroes is played in the 3 or the 4 position role. As now the second stage of bans coming out. So Lifestealer banned out. At this point, Newbee, you got to know some kind of Empower carry is coming your way, and you want to just ban out some of the scarier looking ones. Lifestealer with the built-in Rage Magic immunity, very tough to play against for both Leshrac and ET.
Surprised that SD wasn't taken by either team.
That has been like one of the most contested 5s for sure.
Yeah, it's just so value. The Disrupt is the Disruption I feel like is just straight up one of the best 5 position spells that you can get, because it doesn't just act as a save. You can use it offensively. It's so unique and versatile in that regard. Plus your Purge, the slow going through BKB, makes you such a great anti-carry. I've seen so many situations where teams try to jump the 5 position SD, and he lives for way longer than he should. He gets his entire toolkit off. If he gets Soul Catcher off, that's one of the best burst spells in the game too. And I think there's even more value for the SD when you see Axe on the enemy
It
team.
just got banned before they picked the Axe, so I think
snap.
they're hearing you, Will. They're like, okay, we want this Axe here, and what are they going to pick if we get Axe? SD would hard counter Axe as far as being able to save, having a save against Axe, because this Axe gives you a way to kind of preemptively counter whatever Hector's playing. He's playing some heavy physical damage core that doesn't want to get Blade Mail called by an Axe, theoretically.
Yeah, I actually really like that.
Yeah, with the Axe, you also have a BKB piercing ability, which is good at every stage of the game. And usually Newbee saves this Axe for their last pick. And I guess they were afraid that it's not going to make it through the last banning stage. Yeah.
I'm sort of down to see Hector's hero right now, because I feel like you see your core matchup. You know that you're going to be against the Axe, but instead they take the Oracle, another type of save.
I don't think they're preparing for Raid King, because there's not much synergy between Oracle and Raid King, because he already has 2 lives, so I still think Phantom Assassin is a great pickup for them.
Even the Empower on the Wraith King is obviously fine. He'd get benefits from the Cleave, but he doesn't need the Cleave to farm. He's got the Skeleton, so he's not a hero that gets amplified by having Cleave the same way like a Phantom Assassin does.
Plus, you're going to get Radiance, so you already have a Flash Farm mechanic. You're going to go Midas Radiance oftentimes. I feel like it feels a little bit redundant.
Yeah. Any chance of just the classic Mag Jug as well?
The only thing is, I hate playing Jug against Axe. I feel like every phase of the game, it just hurts you. You're so easily killable. I don't know how good it feels like with Oracle as well. When you get low, you're naturally just going to pop your ult instead.
When you're playing any carry against the Axe, and if he's having a good early game, which means that he's going to get that good timing on a Blade Mail, it always feels bad.
Yeah. I like the idea of having a carry that can have kill threat on Axe, because you don't want to give Axe a free game in the laning stage. That to me is always where things will kind of spiral out of control, and the Jug at least brings that kill threat to the table.
And they take Shaman. They're continuing the trend of being very aggressive and running at the lanes. I feel like Infamous, what they really lack right now is wave clear or some way to push things out. They're going to go for the Wraith King anyways. I feel like this is one of those situations where it's because it's a Hector hero.
Yeah. It's not maybe about picking the best hero to fit in that draft and play with Magnus and the rest and the Oracle. It's just like, hey, this is Hector. This is comfort pick. This is his best hero he plays in Dota. Let's pick it.
I will say, I think even more so, they need wave clear. Like, when you have this kind of lineup, it's important that you have the ability to instantly push out lanes so that your Magnus doesn't feel super pressured. As a Mag, what you want to be able to do is just max out in power, but it does mean that you have very little team fight. Since you decided to go a 4-position Mag that gets 4 points in power, you have no levels of shockwave, you have no ways to really kill around the map. You're going to highly just rely on your carry farming out the triangle, which means you need another hero to apply pressure around the map.
And if you compare the two lineups, Newbee's lineup can easily clear the creep waves, even the supports. Also, Shadow Shaman can be on the different side of the map using wards to put a pressure on the towers, just buy some time if early game doesn't go well for them.
I feel like Infamous actually needs like some sort of long-range poke. I'd even be okay with some sort of Ember or something like that, so that they can just like consistently hit back and forth, or a Storm. Something along those lines where you don't have to hard commit. You can just sort of roll through the wave.
I mean, the Ember idea is also another hero that benefits from Empower too, so you kind of get, two useful things out of it there.
Yeah, I'd like to see Ember or Storm personally.
And we do talk about them being 4 Protect 1, so as much as, we want to empower the Wraith King, he's just going to be off by himself. He doesn't need the Empower to necessarily farm, so getting another hero for your mid lane that can farm with it isn't a bad idea.
I think what you need right now on the side of Infamous is a way to delay the game, in case your laning phase doesn't go ideally, and I don't think that Infamous's heroes so far are ideal for the early game. Whereas I feel like Newbee's early game and their laning is going to be very strong.
Because you wanted Newbee to play fast and try and run over Infamous, not let Hector farm. Do you think they've kind of drafted towards that strategy?
Yeah, definitely. They have two supports who can rotate easily, and if Axe gets his good timing on his items, they can easily snowball, even without seeing the last pick. But thinking about the last pick, it's a really good Slark game, because they don't have many counters for Slark at this point.
Have we seen much of UR playing Slark so far?
I've seen 2 games personally.
Okay. So something you can definitely play.
I mean, you can always fall back to Faceless Void, but there's a lot of save right now. There's a Wraith King with 2 lives.
Oh, ooh, that's a surprise.
Monkey picked into the Leshrac. You're a bit of a mid player yourself, Blitz. I mean, normally you think Monkey against melee heroes. What's the idea here, picking it into the Leshrac?
I think it's so you have a hero that doesn't get bursted and one that can make play, has play potential around the other 2 side lanes. I think it might be a little bit greedy. I almost felt like they wanted some sort of hero like Storm because it has good poke too. I guess Monkey can function in a similar fashion.
I think because Wraith King doesn't need the Empower in this game, they needed another melee core that benefits from the Empower.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll see Newbee now. Last pick, they've got lots of reserve time to think about what their options might be. Which certainly we'll see that CCNC mid Leshrac. These NA mids have been bumping Leshrac this tournament, and they go for a Sven. Try to test it. One of UR's classic heroes. Good Sven game?
Yeah, a lot of NA carries actually think that like Sven rips apart Wraith King. Although I've seen like twice now at this tournament it go the other way.
Depends how much kiting potential you have on actually both teams. How many saving abilities, how much support farm's gonna get into that play, getting one of the 4 staff, maybe even a Glimmer Cape.
Yeah, it is Sven into 3 melee cores as well, so that's going to feel really good.
Yes, but Sven feels the best to play against when there are no saves on one team. Just because you want the ability, this hero is a burst physical damage hero. You want to be able to get in, kill somebody immediately, and then reset the fight so that it's 4-on-5 for your team.
Yeah, but the Oracle, there is a save.
Yes.
So maybe making life a bit more difficult. Okay, well, those are our 2 drafts here for game number 1. We're about to help ourselves into the draft and the game. Before we do so, we're going to hear some final thoughts on how these 2 teams match up from the Haas.
This matchup features 2 of the best, in fact, the 2 best farming players at TI. Yawar and K1 Hector, the only 2 players averaging over 23k net worth at the 35-minute mark. Infamous, their laning phase has been the most aggressive at the tournament. Schofield's 4.4 assists per game at 12 minutes, the highest in the tournament. Whisper's 2.2 kills per game at 12 minutes, 3rd place behind Thompson and Sumail, and Chris Luck's 87 CS at 12 minutes, number 1, just barely ahead of Sumail. To relieve the pressure, Newbee's counting on Elder Titan. He is 17-4 before the 35-minute mark, only 17-20 in games that go longer than that. And Snaking's Axe is going to be key in this game, 7-1 over his last 8 games. 8.5 kills and 13.3 assists per game. An NA versus SA showdown with their TI9 lives on the line. Brought to you by an NA casting duo. Here are Lyrical and Trent.
Thank you so much, Nahaz. NA casting duo indeed, but there's a lot of love in the world for South America. They've shown up big, and I think even the crowd is getting behind them a little bit.
Yeah, there are boys too, right? The whole Americas, we stick together. We gotta fight against Europe and China, these big strong regions. So we stick together, right? We gotta hang out with our guys down there. So certainly a lot of respect, a lot of history with all of these players. We know them so well over the years from the region, and likewise the same thing goes back and forth between them.
Absolutely. Well, and already into this game as Newbee facing off against Team Infamous. I gotta say that it's been really a revelation, I think, for a lot of people out there. And the panel talked it to death. Hector having an amazing year. I think that Newbee has looked revitalized as well. Both of these teams, I think, are coming in as a surprise, potentially top 8 win. I don't know many people would have had them in their picks for that high of a placement early on.
No, certainly sounds pretty unlikely. Other than like the passionate fans, of course, right? You got yourself a little bit of like that TNC flavor when it comes to Infamous, where they just have like an entire region sort of on their back. Feels like they have to carry from there, but nice and fresh here, right in the mid lane. Chris Lock, he's feeling pretty good.
Yeah, he's laying down those little sprays. You got to find ways to tilt your opponents, if at all possible.
Goes for a ward check too, and oh my, what have I found here?
Yeah,
it would appear there's an observer ward.
I'm not sure if they're going to quite realize where the placement is, but I think that they might have an inkling, yeah. And again, for anybody that's wondering, you can't get the extra vision. Chickens racing themselves back to the fountain. CU gets out on top, but Newbee going to pick up 2 of the bounty runes. Looks like Infamous also going to be able to pick up 2.
Yeah, so the reason he brings out the courier like that is so he can guarantee the instant change to the courier so he gets back as fast as possible for the body block here. And this chicken's putting in work.
Oh, yeah.
That is actually, the crowd are watching the same thing here. They're a little dismayed by the effort here by Chris Luck. And CCNC, the big block, but now it's under the tower.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate there for him. But yeah, Chris Luck, maybe a little bit of nerves on the big stage. Again, one of the earlier rounds for these teams. And obviously the furthest that a South American team organization player is made in the International.
So the draft's moving along there, and I have to say, I was getting a little concerned for Infamous. I did like the last pick in the Monkey King. I felt like the Ember was maybe going to be the option there, but perhaps Chris Luck just feeling more comfortable. You can see he's spammed quite a bit of Monkey King in his pubs, and maybe just the matchup versus the Leshrac can have some issues for the Ember if things get out of hand. So they're going to rely on that instead. But it does a lot of the same stuff. It's got a very long initiation range for when you're playing from these 4 hero group ups to give all that space to Hector to farm. So Chris Luck going to be looking to abuse that in power and give all the space in the world for his carry.
Nicely done, man. He is just laughing. That's not even all chat. That's just to himself. He's enjoying the playing here on the big stage.
I wonder if his teammates have him muted.
Well, we do see down here bottom a tri-lane versus a dual lane coming from Newbee, trying to absorb that pressure that's being placed onto them, onto Snaking, and Snaking already in a little bit of trouble as the Impale is going to come out, looking to try and find the finished highlight. Zenith being interrupted. In fact, he turns on the Stinger, gets the refresh on the damage from his Spirit. It's almost enough to dodge through, trying to hide away in the trees. The Juke coming through another round. Stinger still in trouble, and looks like Pi, the great Impale coming from Schofield. They draw first blood. Stinger still trying to run away and is barely able to make the escape. Oh, Stinger, he did it.
Oh, an instant tip there from Whisper. He's like, I know you guys are still busy down there, so I'll handle the tip for you. Very well played. I appreciate what Pi did, right? Because he saw all those heroes, and he just says to himself, yo, I can get myself an easy kill. So much damage, but with the body blocks, with the juking the trees, those spells come back off cooldown. And big saves there from the tri-lane from Infamous.
Most definitely. So it is still always a little bit of a funky thing because it's not just, what is going on in the tri-lane as far as kills, but it's also how much farm are you getting. And Wraith King already 9
mid lane
is chase forward, regen rune available. Who's going to go for it? Dodges away from the stun, able to walk his way out, and now CCNC in a lot of trouble. Does get the salve off, needs one more touch, but even if he doesn't get the kill, that's CCNC out of lane for a while. And
I feel like they're both losers in that one, though, right? Salve canceled, regen rune canceled. It's like, I'm glad we can just both agree to just stay where we are here.
True enough. But I did want to go back to what you were talking about there, the Ember as opposed to the Monkey King as a potential option. The thing that I do like about the Monkey King is that I feel like it has maybe a bit more burst potential. If you can get those Jingu stacks up and possibly throw out one of the Boundless Strikes, as you are is just going to take a couple pot shots underneath the tower, courtesy of Whisper.
Yeah, and the burst can be kind of nice in combination with the Nyx Assassin too, right? He might be able to just help scout out for the Monkey King, pops the Vendetta damage into the stun, into the Boundless Strike, and maybe a double tap from an Echo Saber or something after that from Chris Luck, and can burst a lot of heroes with that.
Well, meanwhile, Snake King gonna take another Impale to the face. A lot of damage coming through. But Paladai able to be the one up in everybody's face, keeping Infamous back, putting too much pressure onto the offlane.
Yeah, stealing some of these last hits here too. Scopefield forced to carapace that punch.
Oh, it's a fancy set he's got there. And now, moving back, Stinger, seeing if he can get some more pressure on. It's not an easy kill on the Axe, but it looks like they're kind of going for it again. The Stomp is going to interrupt it, and if nothing else, they're making Snake King's life difficult.
Yeah, still doing fairly well though. 15 last hits, and we haven't even talked about that top lane, but it's just been this 2v1 the entire time for Newbee. And they get a little bit more harassed there on the Whisper. Gonna be tough to finish him unless, even with the Mango, it'll be close. MSS.
Getting up close and personal. Whisper there, you saw queued up the skewer, but canceled the animation afterwards, not wanting to go for it.
Snake King though.
Again, bottom. They're just bodying this guy, chasing him down. And Hector is taking a lot of damage from Pi, but no more mana, not another Spirit there for the Elder Titan, so he has to back out, and Hector's just going to salve up right in front of him.
Yeah, might have learned his lesson last time, right? Of getting too aggressive. Now for the bounty run, so they're already aggressive on the bottom. You got Whisper in position here as he picked up his bottle from the shop, and he wants that refill.
Oh, and you got to be careful walking over here. You might get cliffed. MSS, going to play it safe, goes the other direction, and so far, so good for Infamous. Who it feels like are getting a nice little bit out of this laning stage, but need to be careful. Chris Luck in the mid, going to take some of that Diabolic Edict, and CCNC thinking about diving for that.
Yeah, the wave's there though, so very unlikely you're going to be able to find something.
Radiant are scanning.
And CCNC also just a little concerned because those supports are missing, so he's just wondering, are they wrapping around me right now? What's going on? Paladai going to come try and scout that out, but he will be spotted by an Observer Ward. And so Infamous do have information as to who could be helping in that mid lane. Oh, and his ward just got spotted too.
Yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate. Still the battle rages down bottom. But yeah, that ward will be scouted out by the one up on the high ground. And immediately Stinger walking over. Let's see if he gets that D ward. Yeah, and he's going to drop it down. So giving the damage over to Chris Luck, and CCNC looking to find a snipe, but not going to be able to get it there. As again, CCNC maybe in a little bit of trouble. The Boundless Strike, the Purifying Flames gets the kill. Have they gone in a bit too deep, Newbee, as they rotate in Schofield? Chris Luck, a lot of damage at this point as they're going to go for the jump forward, find the Impale, get themselves another round of kills. Man, Infamous are just cooking.
Yeah, hands kill over. Yeah, he had to take the first one with the level 2 Purifying Flames because that's what Oracle players do. But he can easily hand off Paladai. Now Chris Luck even gets a regenerate, although he doesn't necessarily need it. Still very high in resources. He heads back to that mid lane. That did cost a rotation from MSS, who has to go and soak the mid lane before CCNC can make the return there.
Well, and call me crazy, but I feel like it was Infamous that has tended to be very comfortable in the late game, and they're winning in the early game. I mean, obviously, this is a bit of a different situation. Newbee have a lot of heroes that are very effective at providing support in the late game, but already, Schofield moves in. Now that's my Carapace steals some last hits.
That's one way to get back into this game, right? Like finding stacks, and you have 4 kills, but you can find other ways of growing your economy via the last hits in the lane. As you can see, they are leading inside of Newbee, or also through these stacks. But scouting and sabbing some of the XP can be very helpful for a Nyx Assassin who wants all the XP he can get. And now Paladai, I think he died here once before.
Gotta be careful. So they jump forward again onto Pi, have the Impale available, saving it as he's juking, but he's not going anywhere. They don't even need to throw the Impale.
No, I got the Orb of Venom. This guy just has a windlace, no boots, no real concern.
Man, this Monkey King has been a bit of a revelation so far.
All right, so what do you do when you're losing the kill battle like this? You just run it to
gets it right on the edge! MSS also gonna go down.
They are rotating to try and kill Whisper, though.
And finding the kill indeed. CCNC there to get it. Back and forth across the map. 6 kills. Infamous to the 1 of Newbee as they get on the board.
A good rotation. What will matter will be like the tower pressure too, though, but they're already rotating the Nyx. He's out of resource on CCNC, so it's a kill, but it's not a big loss or anything there for Infamous, because when it comes to Hector, they of course want to sacrifice everything they can for all of these towers because of how efficiently he uses the jungle and how helpful it can be to have those towers to rotate if Newbee are indeed going to try and put pressure on this Wraith King.
Well, and that's one of the things that you really want to keep your eyes on is how quickly does that farm raise up for Mr. Hector, as he's going to be slept by Pylai Die, but no real chance for a kill. Instead, the kill is going towards the mid lane where they have found one. Monkey King very low. It is going to go down. CNC picking up that kill.
So that'll be some killing spree XP handed over as well there for the recovery of CCNC. Now ahead of the Monkey King in terms of experience, thanks to that.
To level 8 for him. And Hector, in the meantime, has just been living down here bottom, and he's thinking about chasing Snaking into the trees.
Yeah, he's got this Observer Ward here, too, to help spot rotations in behind. And likewise, though, there are Observer Wards here from Newbee, spotting out what Stinger's up to, so Snaking using these for awful positioning underneath the tower to try and stay safe and trying to absorb as many resources as he can. Up top, though, nice Hex. Should be an easy follow-up here for CCNC.
Yeah, it's all too easy. Farming while getting kills, that's what you want to see out of the mid player. CCNC will work.
Meanwhile, not again.
Oh, God, bye.
This is not for you, my friend. Get out of there.
And they do manage to get the Jingu stacked up while also getting the kill.
Do not enter. And no pies allowed.
They're just going to rotate bottom now. Yeah, Snaking needs to get the hell out of Dodge. Hector chasing in, see if he can find somebody, but nobody's home. And it's going to be the trade-off of the tower CCNC taking top. Simultaneously, Infamous and K1 Hector pressuring a bottom tier 1.
Yeah, same thing with the Bandits, right? Trade-off because of the force positionings from the tower pushes. Now you got Whisper. He has the point here saved too, and now he's a bottled haste room. So potential for a nice kill with the early RP, something that can tend to be a little difficult.
Oh, this looks like a nice little stack stolen away by Infamous. So clearing out the jungle and now going to jump on the Snake King, who's been kind of closed down on this entire game. And another round of Impale. Schofield doing so much on this Nyx Assassin, and now he's also got level 6.
Yeah, I would say it's surprising he only has 2 deaths on the axe, considering the amount of pressure. He actually had a pretty good last hit there too, but still going to be a good target there. And needing a sleep from Pi. There's that haste.
Coming. He's coming for you, Pi. Just giving him the business all game long. And they have another round of Impale's going to connect it, see if they can punch him down, skewer back underneath the cliff. And can they finish off this Elder Titan? Yes, indeed. Stinger's going to take that one.
Pilot is not exactly a stranger to this style of play. His game, of course, letting you know that for a fact. And he understands the mathematics, right? By far the lowest net worth in the team. He's half of that of the Oracle.
Ooh. This is kind of interesting here from Schofield. And could they make something happen?
Yeah,
they are
making
moving up.
Carapace play off his last creep, right?
See if he can find it. Carapace comes out. The Impale is going to connect and the jump forward. Find a kill with the Primal Spring onto the Spin. Infamous. They just know where Newbee's going to be. They're prepped.
Perfect. He's been keeping left a couple of big creeps there for Monkey King.
And the thing that the panel talked about was, this is the way Infamous play. 4v5, yeah. They're winning fights while Hector just keeps farming.
They are the vanguard. They play up ahead. They are across the river. And you go, where's Hector? And you just kind of draw a line between Newbee, and then where are the 4 players playing, and then extrapolate further. Oh, there's Hector. Far away from anyone messing with his patterns. Spamming the skellies, and everything respawns. Here I go again.
He's back. Another round of it. Gonna be about halfway to that Radiance now. Just 12 minutes with Empower. I mean, he was already farming back.
He's just walking left and right in the mid lane. Empowering Chris Luck on the right. Go farm some camps. I got some stacks over there for you. I'll have some ancients, Chris Luck. Don't mind. Oh, where's my Wraith King? Then he walks over, gives Hector the Empower too. One job for Whisper, and if he can keep spamming the mid lane at the same time, you've got 3 cores farming excellently for Infamous.
And how did Newbee deal with this at this point? Because it does feel like they're getting their jungle invaded and they haven't really been able to respond.
Well, that's a good play, right? They do take the mid tower. That's going to help close out some of these areas, give some opportunities for ganks from the side of Newbee. And they're still waiting for Yawar to really get somewhere. He's close to the Echo safe, then he's going to be looking for EKB after that. Their initiation will be reliant upon Snaking, who is not that close to the Blink Dagger, but he'll be working on it at bottom lane.
If you can get into that item, obviously start to take some fights, and if you win those 4v5s, that's when things go a lot better. But right now, CCNC, we go for the walk around, gonna get caught out, the Edict is there, and I think Chris Luck realizes it's time to let my support die.
Yeah, no potential save there for Chris Luck, he lets him go. But that Monkey King right below Hector, also very close to UR though, in terms of the net worth. He is a scary guy if you want to start playing Schofield. Schofield being spotted by the Observer in the top lane too though, so this is giving some freedom to Newbee right now, right? Where they can, as a Nyx assassin, try to play off map. You don't want to be seen, you want to be getting this threat of the Vendetta, and every time he walks past this ward, it's just like one more camp for a Newbee hero.
And you can see that Nyx Assassin just maxing out the Spike Carapace, knowing his job in this game, as it does look like Infamous, again, going to play together, farm up camps. He's actually stacking right now Whisper, even the small camp, to get whatever extra farm he possibly can.
They're coming with a Sentry. They know that Schofield's coming in here.
This would be a nice pickup for them. But it looks like they're just a little bit too late. He's going for the courier stand there.
That Observer Sentry combo that he's got as well, keeping him safe in that area. So now they manage to get past the Nyx Assassin, but they run into the Skeletons, and that's going to protect Hector.
Need to go for the smoke up play if you want to try and find that Wraith King. But not simple in the least bit.
Schofield waiting for this courier. He's going to run out of the Vendetta soon. He still hasn't spotted anyone else here.
Oh, this would be really nice if he could get it. I mean, he's going to go right by the ward. I think this is going to be a courier kill.
No, he's not going to damage. He lost it.
He lost the Vendetta. Okay. Well, 40 seconds, and that will be the end of it. But back towards the jungle. Snake King gonna try and clear through these waves. And again, Newbee just kind of going AFK farming, but Infamous are farming faster.
They got the Yules here. Let's go for it.
Spike Carapace afterwards.
That was nice. Forcing the Carapace before the stomp.
Yeah, so now Hector showing up and realizes, okay, I can't do this. Gotta back out and give up the death of my Nyx Assassin another round.
Now we get two heroes being surrounded here by Sinking MSS, but they're able to waltz their way on out of there, perhaps because Chris Luck's just a little bit terrifying right now.
Well, you can see right now 61% in the favor of Infamous. Dota Plus feeling it. But the big thing to me is it just feels like Newbee haven't really made that many moves. If they do manage to take a fight, possibly you can make something happen, although Hector now has the Radiance.
Yeah, they've kind of gotten over that early hurdle that I was a bit concerned about for their lineup in terms of just like the wave clear being a little bit weak for Infamous. They've done a very good job of keeping the power spread from Whisper, which is certainly helping, right? They're both farming up camps and starting to push out these lanes, but you've got a support duo that can't clear waves. You got an offlaner in the Magnus that's a little bit vulnerable when he's going for that too, especially with these longer initiation ranges like the Axe, and then the left arc always going to have that Yule's Scepter. Infamous playing extremely well so far. They only have a 1k lead right now, so it's nothing too serious. That should start to grow a little bit here with Hector. And now he's building into the Blade Mail by the looks of it, as well as finishing out his magic point. So ready for combat soon.
Schofield's been playing this so well. Breaks the smoke onto Pylite Die. They're going to be able to see that all the heroes up there. Got to try to take this fight. They have a DD onto Chris Luck. This could be an opportunity for them. Think about going in with the Wukong's command onto absolutely everybody. A lot of damage out. Schofield able to walk away and Snaking. Not so lucky. CC now out of mana and going to be out of life. It happens so quick.
Yeah, the double stack there too, right? They called and hexed the Oracle at the same time, so now you're essentially just missing out on one of your spells because of that. And you have to target on the Oracle so you go over someone else. Of course, the stage's going to be there, but great follow-up there from Infamous. They got stuns, right?
Oh, yeah.
Raking stun, Nick stun, Boundless Strike from the Monkey King, as well as that RP and skewer when you need it. So no shortage of control elements here from Infamous, and they know when their timing is. They know how to play around this Radiance. It is their playstyle, as BSJ pointed out.
Now, one of the best answers for Last Track of the game, just pick up a Blade Mail for the Wraith King, giving them so much fight potential. Snaking does have that blink. He's got the ability to jump in, and maybe gonna look for Chris Luck here. And no, Hector, he's in the middle of actually breaking the blink dagger. They will kill off Stinger, but now, how do you deal with this big bad Wraith King? He just turns to fight, gonna pop the Blade Mail as well. You are already in that God Strike. He's killing them all off. Still has the ultimate afterwards. Now Schofield in the Vendetta does have great potential if he wants to go for it, but the Hex is already out. And now the stun coming for Yor, but the RP! It comes as well. Where's the follow-up? Do they have enough damage? It looks like the answer might be maybe, possibly. CCNC super low, and Chris Luck able to live through it all.
And Whisper coming in with the big RP save for the boys. Chris Luck and Hector getting out. Could possibly hand over a couple tips. I'm just saying, the guy got you out of a complete pickle there in the mid lane, and it's going to help secure that mid tower with the skeletons.
And again, it's less mattering that, you lost a couple of heroes to Magnus. The big thing you took down Yor. Like, in that fight, so key.
And his Midas. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I see Pimp, same brain. I knew where he was going with that one. That one always hurts.
Well, 4,000 gold lead now after that fight mid for Infamous. And you can see here in the replay.
A beautiful Hex there too from MSS. He caught the Nyx coming in invis, and that boom! Whisper says, not my carry. Get off my guys. And turns a very dangerous situation into salvation for Infamous.
As we saw there, the Culling Blade from Snake King able to save a little bit, because it looked like if he didn't finish off that kill onto the mag, they would have lost pretty much everything. But still, Newbee getting a little bit shook here, 19 minutes into the game with Infamous. Pretty,
They're getting back on the horse, though. They had a couple heroes up top here, right? You got Snake King and Yor playing together. That 20-minute banner coming up soon. Perhaps a battle up here, and then you get this question of Hector in terms of his availability. Currently, his TP is ready. Will that be the case? It seems like he's like, you know what, guys, I am ready to fight. You can be graced with my presence. I won't TP from camp to camp. I can actually join you. Royalty, it comes down from the tower every once in a while.
Schofield down on the low grounds. Who does he spot? He can break blink daggers if he so desires, or you're Infamous. They jumped in. They're behind him. They saw him the whole time. Chris Luck pops the BKB. He's still sticking around. The impale comes through onto another Wukong's command. They're all stuck at the trees. They need to get pulled back in by Whisper. Even further inside. They do drop down the Serpent Wards, but is it going to be enough? Oh my god, that was a lot of damage. And now they call Chris Luck. But now Hector's here. Is he going to be able to make the play? They have the false promise to keep the Monkey King alive at the moment. Still taking a ton of damage. And Hector turning on his Snake King, trying to kill him off. They will be able to run him down one by one. Infamous do it.
I'll help my weak and puny allies, as those Wraith King players do.
And unreal that Monkey King was able to live. He came out on like 400, 500 HP.
Yeah, I thought he was gone for sure. Snake kept on helping him the entire time during the false promise. But Hector just strolls his way from the mid lane with some swagger. Gets them another tier 1 now for Infamous. All the way to a 7k lead at the moment, and we still have Roche to consider.
7,000 net worth lead right now for Infamous.
When he shows up so late to fight like this and you're still losing, that's a very bad sign. For Newbee, good positioning there versus the Oracle, right? He's not getting targeted early on this time. Chris Luck perfectly done with the Boundless Strike too. That bonus damage from Whisper.
I mean, we're talking about Hector making all these plays, but it's the rest of Infamous too. They're making the saves. They're, last second there, Stinger almost getting control before he was able to get that false promise out.
I mean, Hector's just walking in when everything's on cooldown, right?
Yeah.
This is what they do. They know how to play around.
Unreal. And you can see, he's feeling pretty good about himself right now. It's tension in the booth right this moment for Newbee. Schofield, will he be able to get CC&C?
It's a very difficult game to try and turn. It's by no means over because they have all this wombo combo. They have the big plays coming in the late game. Of course, that's where Snaking tends to shine. Is making those decisions, getting those big kickoffs for his squad. But it's a sizable advantage at this point for Infamous. There's no doubt about that.
Definitely has that feeling right now. And like you said, Newbee, they've made a lot of comebacks in this tournament. That's you think about the group stage, there were multiple make a creep comebacks for them. We're not even close to that stage yet. They still got tier 2 towers up and online.
They have very good heroes for the pit too, which tends to be what we start revolving our game around past the 20-minute mark, right? It's just like someone getting edge, going into Roche as he takes a swat at the Monkey King who flies by, almost got him. But you got the Elder Titan, you got the Flash Tracks, the AoE stuns, you got the Axe, the Sven, everything for the Roche fight. But likewise, you can just count as many spells inside of Infamous that are very good there too.
You can see here as well the soldiers being left behind as Monkey King has picked up that Active Scepter after the BKB.
Yeah. So wave clear is still a thing that was identifying the Infamous lineup as being a slight hope, right?
They're just going high ground.
Yeah, and that's what the question's going to be. Is if you can defend high ground right here from Newbee, you might get back into this game just by virtue of, like, okay, we pushed them off, and the other two lanes are pushing in our favor. They drop the snakes down bottom.
Dude, they didn't even take Roche. They're just going up here. They're like, screw it, guys. We're going and taking your buildings. Newbee, what's the response? They take a tier 1 tower, but it doesn't feel like they have an answer for this. Early pressure be damned.
Oh, you are. You can't see either. Scopefield's chasing them in the bottom lane. That's the issue.
And they are not going to be able to come back and deal with this. So the chase for possibly for more. TV's coming in now. Infamous, you got to be careful. Can't step too far forward. Call will simultaneously hit on the stop with the blade mail. Doing a lot of damage back on CC&C. Almost taking him down. Crystal going to be healed back up by that ulti. And now turn on MSS. They find themselves another. MSS goes down, and Infamous just going to jump their way out of here.
They're going to try and cut them off here. 2 TPs in the shrine.
But the Wukong's command. Crystal pumping it. CC&C, he gets the Yule Scepter. Look at they can't TP out. They have to fight. Infamous, is this going to work for them? They have the Wukong's command now. CC&C is dying. He's done. He does have buyback. Might need to use one of the Wars then, too. He doesn't have buyback for a minute. Oh my god, the triple kill from Hector, and now Chris Luck looking for more. They're going to force this buyback and feeling like it's their moment. Do they get the RP? Do they find the follow-up kill on his thinking? If they can manage to get it, does he manage to get away? Still running, he does escape. Now the Stomp coming in. Chris Luck, balance check, trying to live, and he does. Takes down Snaking, 88 seconds dead. And now Infamous, they're pointing with the rest of the heroes. They know he doesn't have buyback.
Man, Whisper, this guy. I mean, we talk about the Oracle being the save. I think it's Whisper this game. Always looking out for the big number 1 and number 2. He's a distant third. He's a third of the net worth of the Wraith King in this game. But he's doing everything he can to keep them up.
Whisper keeping the hopes of Infamous alive and well in this elimination match. The sole representative from Bolivia in this tournament.
Man, can you believe that this Hector guy is really good at Wraith King? I mean, I did not think they'd be playing Wraith King. I really didn't. I thought, like, once the first phase they didn't take it, I was like, okay, well, that seems like a pretty likely ban. You know, the guy seems all right, but I think they went for the know your enemy play, right?
Oh my god.
They went for this idea of, okay, we know how Hector plays. They're not idiots, right? They understand what the guy's trying to do. They didn't really pick any mana burn to maybe try and make that an issue pre-20 minutes if they got into a fight. And they just did knock it out of the lanes in a state where they could abuse the fact that they had the Shadow Shaman wards, they had the Edict. I think they were trying to go for this like early game push and take away a lot of that farm space from Hector. It didn't happen. And then you had Chris Luck empowered. He's farming camps. You had Hector empowered. He's doing the same thing. And Whisper's just shoving out the mid lane and farming there as much as he can with the shockwave. So Infamous, they just do it again.
Infamous showing up on the big stage. This team is no joke, ladies and gents. You got to plan for them, prepare for them, and even then, they might still beat you. Let's head on back to the panel, hear what they thought about that game number 1.
South America's finest have shown us a great form. If you were in any doubt whatsoever that they have what it takes to make the top 8, I think those doubts may have been expunged by now. Gents, that was an impressive performance and a kind of mentally breaking performance as well for Newbee. We didn't get a chance to talk about it before game, but yeah, we wondered, didn't we? We talked about it in the green room. Could Newbee bounce back from that crushing defeat against OG, or could they put it out of their mind? That's a tough loss.
That's a real tough loss. I mean, that was pretty much what I saw, at least. 2 players from Infamous just dismantled all of Newbee, right? We saw Chris Luck and Schofield just running around the map and killing everyone, while Hector just does exactly what Brian was mentioning pretty much the entire time on the panel. TPing and farming as much as possible, and then they just took over the whole map. It was really painful to watch if you're a Newbee supporter.
Yeah, how did it bounce back after that?
I don't know if they do. I mean, the obvious answer is ban the Wraith King. Right. He's getting this hero that we've seen in the group stage that he is remarkable on. As you said yourself, Samael, the top pros in the game are looking at Hector, obviously for reasons other than the hero, but a large part of it is the games that he's on Wraith King.
Right.
It's remarkable, and he's got to be one of the best Wraith Kings in the world right now.
What I love about Dota is we've seen other teams try Wraith King, and it doesn't feel like most of them have very much success. And I think Infamous, people are saying, have they proven themselves stop on them. I think if they got Wraith King every game, they could make like top 3 at TI. I'm not even kidding. They've taken games off the best teams in the tournament. I think they are day and night difference with this hero, because it's not just Hector, right? I'm not saying Hector can only play Wraith King. The entire style of the team is based around the way that this carry hero plays. And I just want to give a brief shout out. I think Schofield might be the best Nyx player in the world. I think it's insane to watch him play Nyx. And nobody else makes it work, going off the point that every other team's picking Wraith King. Nobody's picking Nyx for a reason, and then somehow he just game changer with that hero.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've still got plenty more to talk about here at the International, but things are just getting quite spicy here in the arena. Maybe not as spicy, though, as when Fogged and Owen got together to try some hot wings.
Keep them warm. Share body heat.
I don't know. I'm smelling something funky over here, and I'm a little worried.
Oh, you're kind of sweating right now. I'm getting a little worried about you.
I'm anxious. I'm anxious for this one.
Owen, a lot of spice in Britain land?
No, as a Brit, I've had my fair share of good tikka masala down the chippy, and so I feel this is going to be pretty easy.
Okay, fantastic. It's an easy town, no big deal. Take a big bite. I want to see this whole thing go, boys. Here we go.
That was all right.
That's pretty good. I'm messed right now, but...
Owen, I heard that you wanted to be a musician
Yes.
when you were growing up. In fact, I got a great picture here I'd like to share of you in the old times.
Wow, yeah, me and
practicing.
my dad's bass guitar there, yeah. I was the coolest kid in the school as well, because I saved up and I bought a keytar. So, I mean, you know what it is, right? There's this thing you're wearing around your neck. And honestly, I was irresistible, I'm sure.
I'm licking my fingers.
No, look at you. I told you guys, you're going to be fine.
I'm sweating my ass off already.
Fogged, I want to know about your childhood. When did you start getting into video games? And I especially want to know about Battle of Olympus, I believe it was called,
on
the NES.
What is that?
It was a game that was, okay, that one's building up a little bit, but it's just a sweat. It's a sweat. Okay. Battle of Olympus was a game on,
Well, you're suffering. What's wrong? These weren't even that hard.
I shouldn't have licked my fingers, I'll be a little honest right now.
What's up with you?
He did look like a badass.
I licked I licked every single thing, but it's fine. Continue.
You've handled it very well, but it's go time. Okay. This is the big boy.
That one looks really red. All right. Oh yeah, it's unpleasant. Immediately.
Oh, that's nice. It's got like a
Oh no.
almost licoricey sort of aftertaste.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, the sweat's gonna drip in my eye. I'll have some milk.
It's okay, I'll get that milk, buddy.
That one has the most flavour. The nicest of them all so far.
What is happening right now?
Guys, I got this little friendship bowl here. This is the laning partner bowl. Owen?
Am I going in?
You seem to be fine. Hit it up.
What was the last thing? It was a bit hot. Oh, I just breathed on my hand and bounced into my eye. What was the last thing? Oh no, my tears. They're hot as well. Ow! It's got in my eye. What was the last thing I did that actually made you mad?
Me? No, what was the last thing Owen did that actually made you mad, Fogged?
Yeah, he just feeds and goes. He goes multi-battle fury on Sven. That's pretty bad. That gets me kind of annoyed. I think when he kills Aegis, when we're losing games.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll do that.
Yeah, that's probably a good one. I need to recall.
Okay, can we get some more,
You should stop playing Invoker, because you're horrible at it. You don't know the spell combos.
I have a 27% win rate. Over about 50 games.
Still trying though, right? It's getting better?
I win the lane. I win the lane.
He walks into the lane, he doesn't even have the orbs on yet. He doesn't even invoke a spell.
If you would like to, put a little bit of extra on the top.
Yeah, no.
Just
I'll pass. All right.
Dude, I'm shaking.
Oh, that's a big box.
You've got the pain in you. Tell me.
Oh, shit.
best game you ever casted together and worst game you ever casted together. Hit me.
Oh God, I can't even think of that. Oh shit. It was DAC All-Star match, and I was absolutely abysmal. It was by far my worst cast.
Best one?
Best game?
Seb.
I have a game for
Yep.
TI Grand Finals was obviously for many reasons a great one.
Let's tap it out.
Let's do it.
Gentlemen, we did it.
That was a lot of
Minute
fun.
Milk. Woo, here we
I
go.
liked it.
And we'll see you next time for some more spicy wings
Never again.
and spicy questions. We'll
Never
see you
again.
next time. Thank you.
Someone's gonna take care of me. Yeah. Come here, Jake. I'm gonna kill you.
Oh my goodness.
I got that actually. That actually didn't show the extent of my pain. I'll be totally honest with you.
Really?
I was literally like,
Aren't you supposed to be the more Latin of the two of you? I mean, the guy's, he's born in London. He's eating English food for crying out loud.
surprised.
He should be able to cope with that level of spice.
licking my fingers was the biggest mistake ever. Even though that second one you think it's not spicy, when you lick all the pure spice off,
Yeah.
Nice.
You got to be careful. So I didn't
Big
wash my
mistake.
hands properly, and
Really?
I had some issues
You had,
later
a
in the
bit,
day.
you had a bit of blowback off the hand as well. At one
yeah.
point, burnt your eye.
Blowback off
your
me
own-
everywhere. It got spicy. It got spicy that evening. Not in a good way. Not in a good way. No.
Has Shiva let you back into the room yet? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, all right, okay, good stuff. Brian, you want to do one of those?
As of now, I'll take a rain check, but my favorite part of the whole thing was seeing Fogged in like physical agony, while also mental agony, describing the multi-battle furies and the invoker mids. Like the combination here is like this is agony in its purest form, and Dota players, we love it. We love to see that.
it makes it so hard for you to think.
Yeah.
The heat hits you and you're just like, oh, you have this, you're trying to say it, but it won't come out. Your tongue's just like, it's just stuck. That type of heat. Yeah, I'm embarrassed, but it's okay.
All right,
I survived.
good. Are we able to bring in our draft panel momentarily and just say hi very quickly? Gents, I see you over there. Look at that going. Ha, ha, ha. Are any of you doing this challenge?
No, I don't. I would
not
do
now.
it.
Not now.
I would do it.
Will could do it.
Would you do it? Would you do it with Cap?
I would do it. I think
Yeah?
that'd be fine.
I think Will would be fine.
Would
I agree.
Cap beat you? Would Cap go all the way and you not go all the way, or would you?
No, I think